today I'll be having a conversation with Ms. Malika Jalan, who is a filmmaker and an environmentalist. I'm really honored to have her with me for a one-on-one conversation. Can we have her on the screen, please? Good evening, ma'am. Hope you're doing good, staying safe.
Yes, thank you very much, Dipanita. It's an honor to be here, and I would like to thank the NSHM Knowledge Campus for inviting me on this platform.
Okay, so before we start all the questions, I would like to say to all the viewers that if you have any questions for ma'am, please drop it in the comment section and we will get back to you if time permits us. So, shall we begin with all the questions?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, okay. So, what made you think to make a documentary like Kolkata 2070?
Okay, let me first introduce the documentary Kolkata 2070. It was made in the year 2017 with the help of the German Consulate of Kolkata. They financed it. The film, the documentary, is currently available on YouTube. It's in English and in Bengali language. The documentary talks about what science has to say about Kolkata 2070 from the perspective of environment and climate change, more so from the perspective of climate change. All over the world, innumerable scientists are working on the impacts of climate change and how climate change is happening. Though climate change has happened since Earth was formed and before that, it's not something new. But what is new this time is that climate change is happening not due to the activity of the galaxies or the stars or the planets. It's happening due to the activity of the human being. We as a species, Earth is 5 billion years old. We have been on Earth since the last 10,000 years only, and a little more maybe, but not much. But we are now impacting Earth, planet Earth, in a very big way. We have to understand that extinction is not going to happen of the planet. Extinction is going to happen of the species. And this species is us. And we have to take great care so that it does not happen. We have to remember that the dinosaurs were also there at one point and then they became extinct. They did not become extinct because of their action. They became extinct because of natural reasons. But what is happening today in terms of climate change is directly, absolutely directly because of the action of us human beings. And we are walking towards our extinction. And once I understood this, being a filmmaker, film was my medium, and therefore I made this documentary, Kolkata 2070, to communicate with people of Kolkata, because ecosystem can be defined in several ways. For me, ecosystem is the city of Kolkata. I define my ecosystem as the city of Kolkata, and therefore my area of work is the city of Kolkata and its environment and climate change challenges. With that understanding and with that motivation, I made this documentary, which I would invite everybody to see. And now, when we are faced with cyclones, which is a direct impact of climate change on the city of Kolkata and on Sundarbans, we have to think, every Kolkatan has to think of Kolkata as an ecosystem which includes Sundarban. We cannot think of Kolkata without Sundarban, because whatever happens in Sundarban directly impacts the sustainability of the city of Kolkata. So there's a piece in the film which talks about this, about how Sundarbans is very, very important for the sustainability of the city. So I would like you to run that and then we can go forward.
Sure, sure. We can have the documentary, please.
It's just 4-minute piece, not much.
There is no proper facility, no infrastructure, completely disastrous. Even one cannot see a tiger.
Fair enough. But the problem is that Sundarban keeps coming closer to us every moment. Maybe today's Sundarban is tomorrow's Kolkata.
Sundarban, habitat of Royal Bengal tigers, being hardly 100 kilometers away from Kolkata at the southern fringe of West Bengal, close to Bay of Bengal, is a mangrove-infested, unique ecological zone spread over 102 islands, almost equally split between human and wildlife habitations. Always a place with incidences of extreme weather events, the frequency of high intensity storms has raised significantly over the recent years. Globally acknowledged as a climate hotspot, the sea level rise adjacent to Sundarban is also more than double to global average, which has led to significant land erosion in the area, which holds close to 5 million people. It is quite ironical that an area with abject poverty and hardly any contribution to the cauldron of climate change, Sundarban is one of the worst sufferers of climatic impacts. One of its islands, Lohachora, has completely sunk, while another, Ghodamara, has been largely sucked by river. Ghodamara, once a sprawling human habitation, has shrunk over time. Embankments continue to be eaten up by marauding waves, and many people have fled to other islands or beyond Sundarban, while others struggle to survive. The impact of climate change is so huge that even Kopil Muni's temple in Shagur Island, a signature and globally known place of worship, has to be shifted many times to survive. Actually, Shagur Island remains highly threatened, with parts of it already severely affected by the advancing sea. Overall, in Sundarban, the livelihoods like agriculture and fishery have taken a beating, and often migration becomes the only option to survive. Most of the migrants turn into daily laborers either in Kolkata or other cities and barely live without any decent quality of life.
Beautiful
Thank you.
piece of work, ma'am. Congratulations for this.
So I would just like to say one thing at this point, and that is that uh, coming from a background of communication and coming from a background of filmmaking, I thought that this was one way of letting everybody know about what is coming in for our city and for the people who live in the city. And we can no longer be unaware of it. We have to know. And this documentary is intended for us, residents of the city of Kolkata, to know all there is to know about the impacts of climate change for our city of Kolkata. That's why I made this one.
Okay, so moving on with the next question. Last year, when the government announced complete lockdown, a lot of write ups, posts were doing rounds on the internet that finally the earth is healing, the earth needed this. So, what's your take on this? How has the lockdown helped us?
uh, Lockdown temporarily for a very brief period helped clear the air. Air pollution is a very, very big problem for the city of Kolkata. And what the lockdown did was it cleared up the air. But you will be surprised to know that the moment the lockdown was over and activities resumed, the air became more polluted than before. So I don't think the lockdown has done anything at all for Kolkata's environment and climate change vulnerability. It is not for the lockdown to do. It is for the people of Kolkata to do. We have to take action. We have to live lives which are where we realize that we are part of the larger ecosystem. Only then there will be an impact on the environment. Only then there will be an impact on climate change impacts. Because if you see the images which you saw in the documentary, and if you look at the images today on TV after years, which is almost 12 years hence, it's the same images. So what have we achieved in 12 years? And one of the climate change impacts, which is really coming, is that there will be more and more cyclones, there'll be more and more rain, and there'll be more and more heat for our city of Kolkata. It's so hot outside, and it's nothing. It's going to increase year on year. So we have to understand what is environment, what is climate change, and what is our role in making it so bad. And then
I think it's time. I think it's time when we should make an extra effort to protect our planet, to protect our environment.
you see, the Panita, Earth is a very, very beautiful planet. Galaxies are very, very beautiful. The whole space is very, very beautiful. And anything that happens anywhere impacts the whole thing. So we have to live lives with this realization that we are not acting, we are living it. We have to live environmentally sustainable lives. And we have to live lives which does not kill our atmosphere. What we are doing is we are killing the atmosphere of the earth. And gradually, because the atmosphere of the earth is getting affected, our lives are getting affected. The moment we can make this connection, I think we'll have solutions.
Okay, so moving on, is there any alternative for paper so that we can save trees and other non-recyclable items?
Well, again, my approach is more holistic. But if we want to look at paper, we have to minimize wastage. If we can minimize wastage, then using paper is also okay. If we can find a sustainable environment where we are generating enough to sustain our needs and we stop wasting, we stop overusing. What has happened with the digitalization? In my personal life, I have seen that we are increasingly using more and more paper. And if we can recycle what we are using, if we can reduce what we are using, if we stop printing and stop using paper, if we move to online book reading, there are several, we have to start the journey. And I don't think we have started that journey. So of course, the digital world gives us some scope to reduce our paper use, but we have to start walking that way. We have to start stopping to use paper. Even if we can if we can use one less paper today than we did yesterday, I think we've done it.
Okay, so ma'am, why did you take up such an unconventional profession and what inspired you?
You see, I have a 14-year-old son and he's in class 9. So he keeps asking me every day, Mom, what should I do? What should I take up as a profession? And I personally think that there are so many professions that is open to you guys. I don't think this is unconventional. It is only unconventional when you look at it with reference to conventional professions like law, management, medical. But today I envy you guys because we didn't have so many options for profession. You guys have so many options. So I will not call it unconventional. I will say it is as important to work in environment as it is to work in either law or education or anything. It is not unconventional. It is an emerging profession. It is not that emerging. There are several other emerging professions. And once I connected environment and climate change to my life, I realized that I can't do anything else. This was something I wanted to do, and this was the only thing I wanted to do. So I shifted from being a full-time filmmaker to being a very, very part-time filmmaker and a full-time environment.
Okay, so did you face any challenges in this profession because of your gender?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, if I, not at all. I would say no. I did not face any challenges. The challenges I faced was I came into this profession very, very late in my life. If I had come in earlier, it could have been. I could have achieved more than what I did. I think, but that's hypothetical. So no, I didn't face any discrimination being a woman.
Okay, so do you really think that the climate change, Kolkata's climate change, can drastically take a step on us by the year 2070?
I think it's going to come sooner than that. And that's what science is now saying, that it's going to come sooner than that. The challenge is, you see, climate change has several impacts. And for Calcutta, there are huge challenges. One is challenge of extreme precipitation, very, very high precipitation, which means rainfall. The second is challenge of waterlogging, because, Calcutta is like a bowl. So once the water in Hooghly rises, it's all going to come into the city, and it will not be able to leave unless the Hooghly water goes down. So there's immense challenges of waterlogging. And the third thing is there's so much construction happening in the city that it's keeping the heat trapped, which is called the heat island effect. So the city is becoming hotter and hotter, more humid. It's going to become really unbearable. Even after switching on the AC, it will become. So these are big challenges for the city. And it's going to come it's already here. It's only going to keep increasing. I mean, look at the cyclones. Cyclones are a direct impact of climate change. Why are cyclones happening? Because the Bay of Bengal is heating up. The water is heating up because of the rise in temperature. And this heating up of the water is leading to intensification of the cyclones. And they are going to happen more often than they're happening yet. So yes, it's going to come sooner. We can't avoid climate change,
So
but
what are
we
the
can. Yeah, sorry. Please go on.
yes, so what are the necessary steps that we should take to, protect our city?
Well, I think we all have to become environmentalists. It doesn't matter what profession you follow, but in our personal lives, we all have to become environmentalists, which means we have to stop wastage, we have to stop littering because littering is clogging our drains. We have to reduce the use of fossil fuels. Every time you hit a button to send a message, you are using fossil fuel. Fossil fuel means when coal and oil is used to create energy and electricity. So we have to, I mean, that's a little unrealistic, but if we can reduce the amount of energy that we are using, electricity that we are using, but more important is we have to reduce our wastage. I know a lot of people in Calcutta who have started living zero waste lives. They don't have any waste going out of their homes. They recycle everything, they reuse everything, and anything that cannot be recycled or reused, they don't use. They don't bring it into their homes. So I think that could be a very good first step. The second step is watch the film Kolkata 2017, learn about Kolkata and its challenges, and work with your ward councillor, work with Kolkata Municipal Corporation. You cannot just elect people and then let them run. You have to find a way of working with them. In all the work that I do, I work with government agencies, and anybody who's interested in finding a solution for Calcutta has also to work with the government agencies. So there are a lot of actions that you can take in your personal life, the way you live, the way you conduct yourself, and then there are actions that you can take as a community. But you have to understand that we are not outside environment. We are part of the environment. And we have to now take action. Otherwise, it's not looking good. And
Right.
it's not only Calcutta. It's not looking good anywhere in the world. I talk about Calcutta because I live here.
Yes. So I feel to protect our city, our environment, we need to change our lifestyle. Do you think people are actually ready for this?
You see, It is not easy. It is not easy. But if we can make them understand, as I said, if you can use only one paper less than what you used yesterday, that's also changing your lifestyle. So I think we have to somewhere start the journey. We have to make very, very small changes in our lives. But if we can make that, I think we will do a lot. And I think we are ready for that. We just have to become more and more aware of what needs to be done. Because what needs to be done is not big, it is really very small steps. And we should now start to get ready to do that. So, yes, I think we are ready to do that.
Okay, so now I have a situation for you, a very common visual that we see every day in our daily life is when you see someone littering a place, a pavement, a water body, or anything in general. Uh, what do you feel? Does that trigger you?
Tell me something. You've been talking to me for 10 minutes. How would you react to that? Tell me,
Sorry?
then I answer. How would you react to that?
I try my bit to educate people around me to tell them at least take the waste with you to your home and then like use the proper dustbin and everything.
You know, we also need infrastructure. We don't have
Yes.
dustbins on the roads of the city. But if we can have dustbins on the roads of the city, excuse me, suppose you have an ice cream and the wrapper is wet, what do you do? I saw two students walking down a road in Calcutta and they were having a chocobar. And one of them was holding it, hoping to quickly drop it. And as she was walking, she just let it be and it dropped on the road. She knew what she was doing was not right, but she still did it because it was wet. So we need infrastructure also. I mean, we have to not blame anybody anymore. We have to look at enabling people. We have to look at enabling action. How can we enable action? And I think the answer, the one is of course habit, but it has been found that dirty spaces get dirtier and clean spaces don't get dirty. So people, if the area is clean, people will not dirty that area. So what I did to this poor student is I told her, can you pick it up? And she did. She picked it up and she walked away with it. She may have dropped it a little further on, but at that point she picked it up. And I have seen young boys and girls actually looking for a waste bin and throwing the wrapper there. So I'm very optimistic. I have no reason to be pessimistic. A lot of people are doing, a lot of people more will do. A little infrastructure coming into place would be great.
Yes, and I think we should start educating people about it because I have seen grown ups telling their kids, throw the wrapper outside, don't litter your house. And they actually feel like anything and everything which doesn't belong in their house belongs outside because the roads are dirty. So it's okay for them to throw it outside. So I think we should start educating them. And how should we start? How should we go about it?
Make your NSHM waste free. Let your campus not generate any waste at all. All the students of NSM, all the staff, all the teachers, they all have families. From there, it will go into families. Families have friends. From there, it will go into friends. So don't look at them. Look at I. What can I do? What can we do? And I think NSHM could be a very good place to start to say, okay, we are going to make our organization zero waste organization. Nothing, a dry leaf, a paper, sewage, drainage, nothing will go out of NSHM. I think that's a great place to start.
That is
Maybe
that is a really great thing. I think we will look into that and maybe we will start this initiative.
that would be
Okay.
that would be wonderful if you can do that.
Okay, so for a developing country like India, what are the economically viable solutions so that we can, protect our environment from the upcoming scenario?
You see, a lot of India, especially in the villages, is not electrified yet. So instead of electrifying them with fossil fuels, we can electrify them with alternative energy. Solar is very, very important. And it has been proved all over the world that alternate energy is economically sustainable and it generates employment, it generates revenue. So, there is no rocket science in it anymore. It's all there. We have to start using them in our lives, in our organizations, in our state, in our city, in our village. And it will not have any impact on it will improve the economy of the country if we can take this road of, because the devastation, look at the devastation of Yas. Look, I mean, our CM is saying 40,000 crores. It could be more than that. So the devastation that climate change is going to cause, look at the number of children who die out of asthma or who are sick with asthma, the amount of money that families are spending. Look at the adults. I mean, we are all becoming sick because of environmental reasons. There's so much destruction because of climate change. I mean, if you count that, then going the alternate path is certainly cheaper and more effective. So there's no economic loss in going there and no developmental loss. And lifestyles cannot be defined as how Americans live. We have to define our own lifestyles as how we want to live.
Okay, so we have the last question for today. Do you think government not coming into consensus can affect the funding of such projects?
You see, environment is on the concurrent list. And irrespective of which list anything is on, the center and the state have to work together. So they will find a way of working together. But in my work and in my thinking, I have always thought that we expect too much from our government. It is for us to take action. Can we get into a dialogue with the government and get projects done? For example, Sundarbans needs dikes. Sundarbans needs protection from incoming waves. It needs infrastructure. Now, are we going to just sit and watch and wait for the government to do it, or are we going to start the dialogue with the government that please do it? So we have to think that, are we expecting too much from the government? What is our role in it? I think the moment we start doing that, the moment we start saying, am I changing? Am I going to change? Am I going to work at the community level to make change happen? I think change will happen. So don't expect too much from the government. I mean, expect more from yourself. We don't expect enough from ourselves. And I think that is very important. You have to expect from yourself, what am I doing when I become aware of the environmental problems, when I become aware of the climate change difficulties that we are facing and that we are going to increasingly face as a community? What am I doing? I think if we focus on that a little bit, we'll have lots of solutions.
Right. It was lovely talking to you, ma'am, and you inspire us with your words. Thank you so much for this conversation.
No, I have enjoyed. I love talking to students because planet is yours. We've lived our lives. We've enjoyed the planet. Environment is yours. Planet is yours. Go protect it. Make it happy. I mean, it's for you people to save yourselves. I will not say save the planet. The planet will survive. Save yourselves and have a great life on this planet.
Ma'am,
Thank you.
before
Thank
you
you, ma'am.
leave, I think, ma'am, I'll just take a minute and I will let you know that, ma'am, on behalf of all the audience, if there is one thing I would like to tell you is that thank you for just being you. I mean, you were answering all the queries only from your own perspective. And I think that in itself was inspiring to another level. So you did not have to preach, you did not have to give a lecture, you did not have to inform us. You just had to be yourself, and then that in itself did all the work for all the viewers. So thank you so much, ma'am, for that. And we are really honored that you joined us today. And we really look forward to watching your film, and I hope that all our viewers do the same. We'll try our level best to promote the film as well, because I think that is also equally the need of the hour at the moment. Thank you, ma'am. And Dipanita, as always, it's always beautiful listening to you, and you were such a beautiful, accurate representation of all the viewers and all the students, and you beautifully represented all the students and all the queries. So thank you for beautifully taking
Thank you.
forward this session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Dipanita. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.